All right, welcome to my arachnarium. Anyways, so I noticed there weren't too many of these videos on the internet. This is the Native Cheif with the CTS-XHP by Carpenter Steel, which is considered similar to D2 steel, but with a harder, open air temper. And what else? It's very corrosion resistant. So I don't really like how they compared them, but I guess you need, some kind of something similar to compare it to. It holds an edge extremely well. It's actually one of the most expensive steels to produce in the world, which is why a lot of people get excited. And Cutlery Shoppe actually is the only one that I know of that makes or has Spyderco make knives for them with it. Actually, I take that back. I know of like maybe there's the Dragonfly or one of those. I think Spyderco just made on its own. But there's not too many of them. I do believe there was a Man-X too. Anyways, that was not by Cutlery Shoppe, but regardless, if you like Spyderco products, like everyone should, this one is kind of weird. I get the whole, they say it's hunter orange, and I like that idea in the field because nothing is that bright orange, out in the field if you're where I'm at anyways. So it's easy to see. I think it, just like everyone else will tell you, it kind of looks like Halloween. That's why I liked it. That's what drew me to it. But the diamond light coating, or diamond light carbon coating, whatever. I wish every single knife company offered that. And mind my fingers, I work with my hands all the time. And I just got back from a 10-hour drive. But anyways, vacation. Anyways, okay. So I can tell you from experience that the diamond light carbon that Spyderco uses is super superior to any other coating you can put on a knife. Actually, after having Spyderco knives with DLC, I am going to spend money to get my slide on my pistol DLC'd because it is freaking fantastic. The only time, I hard use my knives, so I don't want them to get scratched or anything, when I buy them brand new, but I'm like, what the hell. And I thought my knife was scratched super bad that I carry. And it's a little dirty right now, but there's no scratches on it. I ended up opening a beer with it, like digging my tip in there and prying the beer lid with it. And there is no scratching. It actually had aluminum on it for a while, and it looked like metal scratching. It still does a little bit, but if you scrub that with soap and water, it comes right off. I actually was using this when I was in Montana on a bunch of shit I probably shouldn't have used it in, but I guarantee those are just metal left on the coating. But yeah, it's good stuff. As a matter of fact, if you're wondering what this knife is, I kind of don't want to tell you because I want like 3 of them. Just so I don't, I always have one. So, let's see if I can prop this up. Alright. So with the S30V steel, it is actually fairly rust proof, so what you want to do is just get a little soap, coat your knife, put it on a sponge, I hate using sponges, but they work really good for this. Another rag right here. Rag wet. Just kind of soak in there. Really scrub the shit out of it. You know, pressure. It's the best way to get the stuff off the blades. Just squeeze it with a rag. Let the soap do its dissolving oils or whatever. Degreasing, that's the word. And then check it out. What's really cool about this stuff is it'll just dry on its own. You can already see it down there on the bottom. I'll just give it a few shakes. I'll take this in the light. Since I'm not patient, I'll wipe it off real quick. Look at that. And from what I can see, that's actually just like aluminum. So it's on the blade. There you go. There's no scratches. And I hard use the crap out of this knife. But this one right here is the Emerson Wave Blade Ops DLC paramilitary 2. It's kind of like barely a paramilitary 2. If you look at the saber grind they did to make the Emerson Wave supported, it's really thick. This is my favorite knife ever. Like I said, I want to buy like 3 of these just to have some on reserve. If they made this in like a better, like a super steel, oh, it'd make it fantastic. Especially if it was CTS-XHP. So, if you're like me and you didn't know what the Cheif was, but you knew that it was a long knife and you like big knives, this is not a very fair comparison, but that's what it is next to the Emerson PM2, which is actually a pretty rare one. I don't have any other Spydercos. I've had Spydercos that are older ones, and I ended up not collecting them for a long time because one of my friends told me back in the day that they were made in England, and I believed him for years and years, and I was like, I don't want to carry a British knife. And I was watching some random thing about Golden, Colorado, and how the Spyderco shop was there, and that's where they were founded. And I did some research, and I found out they actually still make knives there because they're a fantastic American company. And I felt like shit, and decided to buy some of their best examples. The Emerson Blade Ops exclusive DLC Paramilitary 2 is about $189 when I bought it. I think I've seen it on eBay and other places for like $1.50. Super, it was low. I hope they make this knife forever. It is so cool. They even blacked out the Spyderco logos. This is like their stealth one. Even the DLC has a different kind of look to it. Very cool, very matte. And then the Native Cheif, the Cutlery Shoppe exclusive with the Hunter Orange and CTS-XHP blade is sold out. And they run limited numbers on these on purpose, and in my opinion, these guys are probably the coolest exclusives out there because the numbers are so low. Don't quote me, but I heard there was less than 2,000 of these made. So I don't know if you've ever tried to order any of these on the Cutlery Shoppe, but I was literally hovering over the add to cart button until the exact second that it said add to cart, until it finally popped up. I clicked it, checked out, and they were sold out. I couldn't even buy one. I ended up getting this on eBay from a guy. As far as I know, he only had 4, I think, for $240. So they're not cheap, and they'll pretty much hold that value. I mean, they're never going to be crazy expensive. I just seen some of the coolest Spyderco knives, from the late 90s and early 2000s when I was in Montana. They don't really look the same. They don't feel the same as these. These are the cream of the crop. For this one, I think this would be good for dressing game. Imagine you pull this out, and you make your cut on the belly, and you run the cut all the way up the rib, and then cut the nuts off, and cut around the butt. Put the butt out, and cut the trach, and pull it all out and dump it. This would be a great knife. It's so thin. It's part of the reason why I didn't want to buy the base Cheif, Native Cheif, is because I wanted, like a pointy knife. And this thing just screams like a field dressing knife. I almost want to be blasphemic about it, and take this thing as my fishing knife out. But I think people would hate me for that. And you can do all the research you want on it. It's 4.1 inches, I do believe. And CTS-XHP. It's incredible steel. If you look it up, you'll look at it and it won't be in the super steel category, but it's close. And it deserves to be. It's a steel that's very good. You don't have to spend all day sharpening it, because I have some 20 CV blades, and those things, it just seems like it takes forever to keep those things sharp. Those are pretty much the gems that I have. It's very cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could add to that, but I don't think so. So the Spyderco Native Cheif. It's a very expensive knife. If you think this is the best knife ever, you're wrong. It doesn't have liners in the G10, so you're pretty much depending on the rigidity of the G10. So you don't want to be doing any bending, and you shouldn't be with any knife. Who are you trying to prove? If you want a knife that you can beat up on, it's gonna have to be a fixed blade. Like if you want a knife that you can just pry on and beat the crap out of, you're gonna have to get a good steel fixed blade, like a K-bar. Practice with a K-bar, and start somewhere where you're not spending a bunch of money. Like me. Well, if you got this far, then it's like times a lot. So. Oh, what's that? And then there's people that collect Spydercos like this. When you see the gold spider logo, they call it the bug. They need to quit doing that. Just call it the spider. But this is a different animal. That's how big it is. All right, velvet lined. How about that? This is that 20 CV knife I was telling you about. It's been used and I don't care. This is probably my dream knife. You know, if I could carry this thing anywhere, I would. That's the Spyderco Zoomer. This knife, for most of its life, was $600. And it's made in the Taichung plant. I don't know why my phone won't focus. There you go. Taichung, Taiwan. I wish they wouldn't have put that font on there. It drives me crazy. But it's etched super deep into the knife because this blade has a 0 edge, which means it's almost like a giant axe head. It's very thick, and there is no secondary edge. You wouldn't put this on a sharpener. What they want you to do is lay it flat. It's actually beveled a little bit. Lay it flat, you know, on a belt, and you work it like that. And then you get that 0 edge back. The whole thing is the edge. The whole thing is the edge. You know, so that Spyderco logo is not designed to stay there. So they put it right there. Like I said, this knife was $600 for most of its life. I did not buy it for that much. But through lanyard hole, 20 CV all the way, contour G10. I hear this G10 takes hours to do by hand. It's amazing. If you put this knife in your hand, you would be like, oh my god, I get it. Even the sound it makes, it's just so solid. I'm sorry, my phone keeps not focusing. But I'm telling you, this is an amazing knife. And the amazing leather they give it, you know. It's ambi, so you can put it any way you want. Put it that way, it doesn't matter. They give you a pouch that you can put a sharpening stone in, and a fire steel. The belt loop moves with you, so when you're sitting down, it's not sticking out strange. It's a very, very well made leather case. And this is my bushcraft knife. I love this knife. And you can beat the living shit out of this knife. It is actually designed for that. You can baton the crap out of this. This is designed so you can push feather sticks all day if you wanted to. And it's not like other knives. It actually takes some getting used to do stuff with it. But Thomas Zoomer, he's an amazing designer. And if you didn't, you know, these are for obscure knife collectors. These are real cool knives that all have a different purpose. These ones are almost primarily just kept for collectors. There's not many people buying the Native Cheif in this configuration that are actually going to use it. This is just a collector piece that's going to hold that $200 or $240 value and not change, or to just get it as a trader to make, you know, 50 bucks on a knife on 4 of them, 50, 100, 200 bucks. You can make it like that because they'll sell out. This is one of 2 that I've seen. As far as I know, you can still get this on Blade Ops. They have it in a satin finish blade that's not, you know, evil looking or tactical looking like this. But it works fantastic. If you didn't know, the Emerson hook catches on your pocket. So as you pull it out of your pocket, it opens itself. And it's super fast. So you'd have it in your pocket. I'm minding my camera. It's a very nice phone, but so you see it. you pull it out, it catches your hem of your pants, and it flips open. So that's part of the reason why it's my favorite one, like for EDC. But yep, 3 knives that I would probably never get rid of so far. This one's just cool. I wish that orange looked cooler on camera. I wish my phone would focus more. I don't know what's going on with that. Ooh, there you go. You notice some of the best Spyderco folding knives are designed by Sal and Eric. You know, and both of these are Sal and Eric knives. So both USA made. Don't let them trick you though. Taiwanese things are very nice too. We have a lot of great manufacturers out there, and hand fitters. People are just really good with steel and G10. I mean, this thing is amazing. And another thing, like, oh, that spider hole, that's stupid. That makes the integrity whack. Well, actually, it does, you know, show that it's a Spyderco, but you can actually lash paracord through there and the lanyard, and you can make a spear out of this. You could spearfish. You could defend yourself from bigger game a little better than, you know, not having any. If you didn't have any weapons, you know, guns or anything on you. All right, yeah, that's just about it. If you're nerding out on this knife, buy it if you can find it, because there's a finite amount of them. And don't be me and use it, because it's gonna lose its value. This guy, kick-ass knife. Buy it, carry it. Just don't stab anyone with it, because I want to keep my knives. I don't want them to be on the legislation anywhere. All right, and that's all. Peace.